So for those of you guys that don't know what's going on here, well, apparently many of you actually know. Of course, my good friend Brian Barczyk, everybody, I consider Brian a great friend of mine, and I have been following him for several years, and he was actually one of the very few people in the animal world that actually got me to fall in love with animals so much more than I thought I ever would. When I was around 8 years old, my mom introduced me to this show on Animal Planet called The Crocodile Hunter, and originally when I first heard about it, I was wondering, like, when it was called The Crocodile Hunter, I originally had thought maybe it was meant because this guy was hunting crocs or something, but the reality was the reason they call him the Croc Hunter was because he actually cared about these animals very much. And of course you guys know who I'm talking about, Steve Irwin, and that's kind of basically where my love for reptiles kind of started. I continued to admire watching Steve, you know, over the years. And then of course it started to transition over towards like the Gator Boys, which I absolutely love that show. My mom also loves that show too. Maybe the summer of 2013, 2014, somewhere around there, when I was actually looking up videos on garter snakes, believe it or not, because I was such a person that loved garter snakes so much. I actually looked up like proper care guide videos and stuff, and it turned out when Brian was still doing his old channel, Snake Bites, I actually came across one of his videos on there that was talking about garter snakes, and I clicked on it because I was curious, you know, and to see who this guy was. And that's when he showed the species that he actually owned, and like the care guide, how, like, what enclosure size, what they eat, how much water they need, and what temperature and bedding. And that's where I kind of actually was intrigued by his knowledge. It really made me fall in love. I watched some more of his old videos after that, you guys, over the next couple of years, until I came across his vlog channel. And it was literally, I realized too, is when I actually clicked on his vlog channel, he didn't even hit 10,000 subscribers yet on his vlog channel, not even 10,000. And I happened to be the first 10,000 people to subscribe to his vlog channel. And I was hooked. I was hooked onto his vlog channel. And that's when, really, that's where it all went forward from that. Just following Brian, you know, following his routine with animals, his adventures. It was just absolutely spontaneous. I just loved it. I mean, literally almost every morning, you know, during school, I would try to be one of the first people to comment on his vlog within the first few minutes of the day. You know, like telling him about, like, what's going on in, you know, with my day, you know, like whether it's school or something with animal related. He always then would comment back too, which I truly appreciated it very much. And then after he started doing daily vlogging, you know, I really fell in love with it. And then that's when he finally took it to the next level with his dream to adding the Reptarium, which he opened in 2018. I was just geeked out about it, and I really wanted to take a road trip there sometime. And that's when my dad actually heard about this zoo, and he knew that I was definitely into reptiles, and he asked me if we wanted to do a father and son, like, road trip together sometime that summer. And this is back in 2019. Like, it hasn't even been a full year since the opening of the Reptarium, and that's when my dad and I made a father and son trip down to the Detroit area and visited Brian for the first time. And Brian was just a spontaneous person, just like how he was on camera. When I went up to him to introduce myself, his eyes widened because he recognized who I was, and he reached his hand down and he was like, he was so excited to finally meet me. I never forget that face he made. He was just so happy to see me for the first time ever. You know, and that got me, I was geeked out. I was like, I don't know how, like a kid in a candy store. And he just was just so nice, you know, it was amazing. And him and we chatted for a little bit, you know, like just talking snake stuff. And it was just one of the best things that's ever happened to me as a reptile nerd. You know, and I told him that I would definitely be coming back to the Reptarium after we left, and even during the COVID pandemic, everybody, the following summer, me and my dad did plan another trip together at the end of the summer of 2020. We did see Brian there again. We chatted a little bit. It was good to see him, you know, even though we had to wear masks, but it was still fun to see the expansion of adding the Reptarium 2.0 over the course of the following year. It was, I was just amazed by what he accomplished, everybody. And now for the last couple years, you know, with the expansion of the Reptarium, and now Brian invested enough money to eventually expand across the street, adding what is going to be called the Legacy Aquarium. And over the last year, he has put so much effort into reconstructing the place, adding the tanks in there and the aquariums, the decorations. We all know that about last year in March of 2023, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And this was a big blow right here. That was hard to hear. But of course Brian, with how much positivity that was on him, it didn't really bother him. Which, that was great, you know, because he wanted to keep going what he did, what he loved. And every single day, that's what he did. He continued to construct his dream, his aquarium. Alongside with his family and his crew, they were putting a lot of effort into this too. And over the course for the months, as months went by, you know, things for him were up and down. But unfortunately, just not even a couple weeks ago, Brian got his latest prognosis confirmed, that his doctor officially confirmed that he was at the end. And now, just in the last few days, he's been on hospice at home with his family. Brian had a major impact on me for being a reptile person. You know, I wasn't big into it until I saw him on YouTube. And I'm grateful that he came into my life. I'm very grateful for it. Not only did he impact my life, but he also impacted my family's life too. You know, when I introduced his channel to my mom was even amazed by what he accomplished too, and showing everybody what he loved. And when we took a family road trip last year to the Reptarium with my family, my mom was really amazed by how it looked in person. It was just so neat to see all the people there, so excited, you know, getting the opportunity to see these animals up close that you almost never get to see, you almost never get an opportunity to see in the wild. And that's what Brian wanted to do. It is heartbreaking that Brian has to go through this. You know, it's not fair to him. It's really not fair to anybody. You know, and I've told the story too about my brother when he was battling cancer as well. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get a moment, you guys, to refresh myself. So Brian, I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you've done here in the reptile community, that you have changed millions of people's hearts around the world to show how much reptiles are extraordinary here in our world. And if it weren't for you, I don't think many people would have this love for these animals to this day, everyone. So, but to Brian's wife Lori and his crew, you guys have also done an amazing job of also doing this as well, and many of us probably wouldn't be here today. And I just wanted to say to everybody that has supported Brian over the years, you guys are all so incredible out there. And I'm happy to be a part of with many of you out there all over the world, whether if you're in Africa, Indonesia, Australia, or even parts of Europe as well. I just wanted to thank you all for participating, you know, and literally showing your love for Brian, which it's really strong, everyone. We, as a community, it's going to be a difficult road for a while, but I think we'll slowly find a way to get back up on our feet, you guys, and keep going, you know. And I do believe this is what Brian would want us to do too, is he would love us to keep going with our love for wildlife, and also try to also inspire other people out there to be appreciative of our world with these animals, finding ways to, you know, show them or educate them what they truly are and what they are not in what they aren't actually in fiction. So yeah, I think that's all I got to tell everybody. I mean, like I said, you know, Brian, absolutely one of the most passionate animal people I've ever met, hands down, if not second best. You know, I mean, he's accomplished so much. And I hope someday I can accomplish almost as much as he did. I hope all of you guys will be, I think many of us, all we can do is just hope, everybody, that if a miracle does happen, that would be fantastic for Brian. So all we can do is just sit back and just let him and his family have their time together, and we'll just have to just keep going on with our lives for now until if anything changes. So thank you guys for tuning in, and listen, if you guys want to feel free to subscribe if you guys want to do that too, just to show this to love for Brian, everybody, and so him and his family can be heard out there, that they are loved by so many people, including me and my family here. Hopefully all of you guys have a good rest of your year, everybody, and see you guys in the next one.